The Grumpy Veteran Project presents The Decline and Fall of the American Civilization Episode 5, Government Medical Experiments on Soldiers and Veterans. Prologue. Once America stood as a promise, a shining city on a hill, built on the ideals of liberty, justice, and opportunity. We were told that our way was the right way, the only way, but promises have a way of fading, and ideals can be bought, sold, and betrayed. Today that promise feels like a memory, fractured under the weight of greed, fear, and division. The systems we trusted, healthcare, education, democracy itself, are crumbling, not from outside forces, but from the rot within. We've turned our values into commodities, our leaders into celebrities, and our people into collateral damage. Every crisis is a profit opportunity, every solution another chance to deepen the divide. As the threads of civilization unravel, we're left asking, was the promise ever real? This is the story of the decline and fall of the American civilization, a tale of what was lost, who betrayed us, and whether there's still time to fight for what remains. They answered the call to serve. They risked their lives on battlefields far from home, fighting for freedom, honor, and their fellow soldiers. But for some, the battle didn't end when they came home. It began in the shadows of government laboratories and secret programs. This is their story. A story of trust betrayed, of lives forever changed by experiments hidden from the public eye. This is the untold tale of how America's heroes became test subjects in a system that prioritized secrecy over humanity. The idea of using soldiers for medical experiments is not new. From the trenches of World War II to the deserts of the Gulf War, the military has often justified its actions in the name of necessity, yet these justifications have often come at a steep cost, paid by those who served. After the horrors of World War II, the Nuremberg Code was established, setting strict guidelines for medical experimentation, informed consent, transparency, protection of human dignity. Yet these principles were often ignored, even by the very nations that championed them. In the decades that followed, the US government embarked on a series of experiments that pushed these boundaries, targeting the very people sworn to protect our nation. During World War II, soldiers were subjected to mustard gas tests designed to study the effects of chemical warfare. They were told it was for the greater good, but they weren't told about the risks. Men suffered burns, respiratory damage, and long-term health complications. For decades, they were sworn to secrecy, denied medical care, and left to bear the scars alone. In the 1950s, Operation Whitecoat used soldiers as test subjects for biological agents. These men were volunteers, motivated by faith and a sense of duty, but the ethical boundaries were blurred. At the same time, programs like MKUltra took a darker turn, experimenting on unwitting veterans with hallucinogenic drugs. These secret experiments left many grappling with mental health issues, their suffering hidden behind classified files. In Vietnam, Agent Orange was sprayed to clear jungles and expose the enemy, but it also exposed soldiers to toxic chemicals that caused cancer, birth defects, and chronic illnesses. For years, the government denied the connection, leaving veterans to fight not only for their health but for acknowledgement and justice. Even after the battlefield, the dangers didn't end. At the Albany VA Medical Center, cancer drug trials in the early 2000s exposed veterans to fraudulent practices. Falsified data led to unfit veterans being enrolled in trials, some dying as a result. Whistleblowers who tried to expose the truth faced retaliation, while the veterans paid the ultimate price. Across decades, a pattern emerges. The military and government often prioritize secrecy over accountability, leaving veterans to suffer in silence. Whistleblowers were silenced. Bureaucratic hurdles prevented justice, and those who sacrificed the most were left to fend for themselves. Despite these injustices, veterans and advocates have fought tirelessly for recognition, accountability, and reform. Lawsuits and advocacy have forced change, but the fight is far from over. Veterans continue to face barriers to care and compensation. Their stories a sobering reminder of the cost of silence. How do we ensure this never happens again? Transparency, accountability, and support for those who have suffered must be at the forefront. America's heroes deserve more than gratitude. They deserve justice. And it is our collective responsibility to ensure their sacrifices are honored, not exploited. For those who served, the battle should end when they return home, not continue in the shadows of government laboratories. Their sacrifice demands our respect, care, and honesty. Demand accountability, support veterans' rights, and ensure that the lessons of the past shape a better future for those who protect our nation. Organizations for advocacy and support, links to veteran-focused legal aid and healthcare organizations, further reading and viewing, suggested books, articles, and documentaries for those interested in learning more about unethical experiments on veterans.